Hello, friends. How are you? Hope you've had a good weekend. Hope you are coping, at least coping in this difficult time of lockdown and restriction and viruses and pandemics. I hope you're at least coping. More than that, actually, I pray that you are flourishing and thriving. I believe that even though we may be restricted in an external kind of sense, in these times, nothing can stop the Spirit of God from causing us to grow in faith, in love, and in hope. So I'm praying that as you connect with God through the Word, I'm praying that your soul will begin to flourish in this difficult and uncertain and bizarre time. We are continuing for the next 2 days to read through the book of Galatians. We're coming towards the end of March. We're going to be in a new book on Wednesday, but we're reading Galatians chapter 5 today. And as we spoke about last week, and as I'm sure you've discovered in this book, that one of the main themes of the letter to the Galatians is freedom. Paul is writing to the church in Galatia, and he wants to tell them that they are free, and he wants to warn them not to go back into slavery. Now, what is freedom? What is freedom? I think the way we understand and define freedom in this culture, in this day, is sometimes different from the way the Bible would define freedom. We often think of freedom as having the time, the resources, and the opportunities to do whatever I choose to do. That's how we would often understand freedom. But actually, the Bible speaks about a different kind of freedom, a true freedom, which isn't about me having the resources and time and opportunity to do what I want to do, but instead it's about me putting to death my own desires and choosing instead to love and serve others. Listen to what the Apostle Paul says in Galatians 5 verse 13. You were called to freedom, brothers. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. For the whole law is fulfilled in one word: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. What kind of life, what should life look like when it's defined and marked by freedom? Paul says it's by serving others. It's by loving other people, laying your lives down for others. He says here and on a couple of other occasions in the New Testament that the whole law, the whole of the Old Testament, all of God's commands, rules, statutes, laws in the Old Testament, they're all summed up in one command: love your neighbor as yourself. That's what true freedom looks like. In fact, in the book of James, James says the same thing. He talks about the law of God, and he calls it the law of perfect freedom. The law of perfect freedom. The law that is summed up in one command: love your neighbor as yourself, is what it means to live in perfect freedom. So I think we need to reconfigure the way we understand the word and the concept of freedom. We need to unshackle our definition of freedom from this idea that it means me doing what I want, getting what I want, having the opportunities that I desire, and instead beginning to realize that true freedom is about me laying my desires and my ambitions down for the sake of serving and loving others. Why do we often talk about serving others in the language of slavery? We do it, don't we? We go, oh, I can't believe I've got to get out of bed this morning to go and serve at church. Right? Or we go, oh, I can't believe I've got to give up an afternoon to go and volunteer and help somebody out. Or, oh, I can't believe I've got to, stop watching my favorite TV program to help my kids get bathed and ready for bed. I mean, we look at serving others as a thing that binds us a lot of the time, where actually the Bible says, no. When you learn to serve others, you learn to live in true freedom. So what might freedom look like for you today? In what ways do you need to put to death the desires and the ambitions of the flesh in order to love and serve others? As you do that, you will begin to experience a greater measure of freedom, true freedom in your life. I'm praying that God will help me in this pursuit, and I'm praying that by His Spirit, God will help you and all of us as well. Bless you. See you tomorrow.